treat you good.
Hey, this is Eric Johnson, and you are watching Rockarotsy.com.
What do you love to do when you're not playing your acts?
You know, I hang out with my girlfriend and go for hikes, or I love to water ski. I like to be out in the country and hang with friends.
Can you shut it off though? Are you one of those guys that can?
It's interesting. It takes me a couple days, but after a couple days, I totally shut it off, and I'm like totally in a different mode, and it's good. You know, you get rusty, but it's okay because then you come back with a fresh perspective.
What kind of writer are you, Eric? Are you the kind of guy, like if you're on a hike, are things coming to you melodically, or are you the guy that wakes up in the middle of the night?
Yeah, you know, it can be different all the time. Sometimes it just comes from like playing around on guitar, and you'll come up with a sound or a riff, and that'll spawn something else, and all of a sudden you'll synapse to something else. But sometimes it can be an idea. You know.
Do you have a recorder next to your bed, or you?
No, I don't.
Do you lose?
Should. You know, every once in a while I hear something in a dream. I go, "Oh, that was great. I hope I remember it." But I'm too lazy.
Do you lose a lot of ideas? You think?
Yeah. So,
Are you thinking that the ones that you lose aren't shit anyway?
You know, it's a good question. I think not necessarily, because I think sometimes maybe the most interesting things we play are when we're just playing, just out of just relaxing and having fun. You know what I mean? And then we go in this other space of like stressing out. Okay, I'm gonna write a song, you know, and it becomes a little bit stiffer, you know. And sometimes when I hear the stuff I do when I'm just goofing around, and it's kind of been reciprocated to me by people, like if we're just jamming on stage and just having fun and going crazy, everybody's like, God, that was the best part of the night, you know. Oh really? That was better than the 2 months I spent getting ready for all those songs on tour?
Right.
Which maybe it's just because it's less complicated, it's more just right from whatever you're feeling in the moment. So I don't know, I think maybe some of those things that you just let that happen sometimes, if you let those slip by, maybe those are the best gems.
Right.
Rather than spending a lot of time toiling on it. You know?
Are you one of those guys, Eric, do you subscribe to that? I don't know if it was Malcolm Gladwell, I feel like it was, who talks about the 10,000 hours of practice. Have you heard about this? That it takes 10,000 hours to really perfect and master your instrument or whatever kind of craft you do. Do you believe in that?
Sure. Oh yeah, I think it definitely takes a lot. You know, maybe it's different for different people. I think some people have such a propensity to learn really fast that maybe they can fast track it. I know with me it took a long time. I'm a slow learner, and I have to kind of keep at it. You know, it's not readily available 24/7 without working at it. But and I think that's true with most people. But I think there are probably exceptions to the rule.
And what do you do when you come to various cities, for example, like Los Angeles? Are there some places that you have to go in terms of food? Are you a sushi guy? I know that you got
I'm vegetarian.
Oh, okay, so that's like
I like to find the really healthy restaurants.
We have some of that out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've been in some really great places, but especially if you've been on the road for weeks and you start getting a little burned out. You know, like right now we've been out for a little over 3 weeks, and it's kind of at that point where it's like, you know, we're getting a little tired.
Where do you go? Do your hands ever? And I know people will probably ask you this, but your hand. This is your livelihood, right? Your fingers and your hands. And do you do anything special to take care of any precautions to take care of your?
No, not really. But they do get sore, and sometimes I have to get super glue on my hands.
Oh, really? That's cool. We're getting the drum tech is taking over right now. Your hands aren't insured, are they?
I don't think they are.
Because David Beckham's right foot is insured.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If he loses that, he loses everything.
Yeah, that's a good point about that. Yeah.
What do you think about legacy? When I mention the word legacy to you, does that come into your daily mindset? How you want your body of work to be remembered, or anything like that?
Well, I think what comes to mind with me more is tearing down the barriers and figuring out what you need to do to make more valid music. And within that, you know, I'd love it to be a vehicle of very strong, dynamic guitar. But with all the music that's out, with all the guitar, with everything there is, it's like, I think it's a valid question to ask yourself, break down all the comfort zones and ask yourself, what could I do that would be worthwhile somebody giving me their time to listen, you know? And it's an interesting thought, you know, because if I just get up there and just play, I don't care how brilliant brilliant the lick is, you know. It's like, really, at the end of the day, what does it mean, you know? So I don't think any of this is going to save us from spiritually, but at the same time, I think we can try to do something a little more valid or a little more touching to people in a sense of music, you know. So, you know, I think that's what the question comes up for me is, what can I do to, you know, dilate the impact of what I'm doing? And there's plenty of room for that if you take a good look at what you're doing, especially if you're open-minded and you know, you listen to all the different music of different people from all different styles. It can be very humbling. It makes it very difficult to live in a little bubble and walk around thinking you've got something, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So if that is the case, then you have to ask yourself, what are the constituencies of what you're doing? And I can't think of a better one than to make powerful music that connects with people. And, you know, within that, you know, the sky's the limit with how great you can make the guitar, but that should be part of the ingredient. It shouldn't be what you ride your coattail of notoriety on.
You mentioned listening to various other styles of music. When you're not listening to your own mixes,
I can't even listen to a live tape anymore.
Oh my gosh!
Everybody say, "Hey, that was a pretty good show." You want to hear it? Say, "Well, if it's a good show, I don't want to hear it," because then I'll hear it and I go, "No, that was," you know what I mean? It's like, which is kind of, I mean, it's therapeutic to listen to your shows. You need to edit yourself and check in every once in a while. But I'm going through a period now where I don't even want to listen to, you know what I mean? Because your head's like jumped ahead to tomorrow, where you see yourself doing this new thing that's different, but you're still playing in today. So if you hear something, it's going to be, oh, that's the way I sound today. I want to get to tomorrow where it's more awesome, you know?
Are you really that critical that when in the recording process too? Are you
too critical?
Really?
I mean, that's why it takes me so long to make records.
Right.
I do it over and over and over, and then I pay the price. You know, oh, I finally get it just right, but then, you know, there's not enough of that soul power. You know, so that's something I'm looking at now. I mean, I just finished cutting a couple of new tunes in the studio, and my whole deal of doing it was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna just cut it live. Just cut it live, and it was difficult and it was challenging, but I have a new take of a song that I cut live in the studio, and I played it for people. They're like, man, you know, that's not as beat to death as your other stuff, but I'm actually enjoying it more. So it's a lesson for me, you know. I think the thing with musicians, you just stay open so that you can receive those little messages and lessons that are like knocking at our door, because they'll just make us a better musician, you know.
Let me finish that question. What do you like to listen to when you're just chillaxing at home?
Music.
Yeah.
I mean, I like some of those new weird guitar groups like Precious Fathers or Explosions in the Sky. It's interesting stuff because they've taken the guitar and they're doing something totally different with it. More like atmospheric, weird, echoey stuff. And the guitar didn't quite sound like a guitar, you know, because I don't know where else to go with, you know, blasted with the distortion, just, you know, it's like, as soon as you hit that first lick, gang, it's like, oh, that's the sound I've heard 5 million times. You know? So those guys, it's interesting what they're doing. I think there's other things too, you know, because I still want to figure out how to bend the guitar sound, but do it in a more like, you know, like John Coltrane or you know, Miles Davis, where they're really playing their acts too. You know, I want to hear that playing their acts, but it's like I'm listening to stuff where the people are really playing their acts, but it's in a musical sense. You know?
2 more questions. At what point in your life did you realize that, you know what, this is for me, I've got to play guitar, and this is the way I want to kind of speak to people?
I think I was about 15, because I just was getting so much joy from it, and then you start playing clubs and you're making some money, go, well, I guess I can make money at this. What else? There's no better blessing than be able to do what you want for a living and be able to get by. Whether you barely get by or you make millions is really immaterial.
Right.
In fact, if you make a lot of money, you'll sit around in the tour bus going, man, remember when we slept in the van and made $20 you know what I mean? It's like, it's a very interesting illusion, you know, but you can't tell somebody that. You say, what are you talking about? I can't wait to get that other place, but then they'll, you know, then they look back, you know, so it's really that, and that's because it's about a different ingredient than that. You know, we think it's about that, but it's not.
Interesting. Last question. So I caught a little bit of your setup and your sound check. So do you have any pre-gig superstitions that you go through before a night like tonight at the House of Blues? You have to eat something special? Do you have to? Do you pray? What do you do?
Well, you know, I like to pray and just center myself, and try to get in touch with that. And I just try to get my gear to work as good as possible because maybe I feel that with electric guitar, with all these chords and amps and tubes and electricity, you're already behind the 8 ball. It's already like you can't start at square one. It's like we're going to start you at -20. Can you try to get to +5? Well, because I do tours where I do like acoustic guitar, acoustic piano, and you can start from square one there. I mean, they basically sound, you know what I mean? But it's like this stuff is like, well, here's your nightmare. Can you make it? Can you turn it into Stravinsky? And so if I do that, I feel more comfortable and less chicked out.
Cool.
Will I treat you good?